Welcome back guys, this is Vishu from SavageCamp, and in this video we are going to look at the filter function. So to start with, let us go back to our random and let's create a list 1 which will be random of 5 to let's say 20 for item in range 10. And let's create a function that gives greater than values and answer is equal to an empty list for item in list 1. If item is greater than 10, answer dot append item, and we will return the answer at the end and print greater of list 1. So we have a small function to actually return the values that are greater than 10 in a list, and we have this running properly. But for this whole thing we had to write a function. To avoid this, we have the filter function. Now the only condition we have is the item should be greater than 10. When we have only one condition, we know we can use the lambda function. You put in the parameters and you tell what it needs to return back. It needs to return back items that are greater than 10, and the parameter is list. And this is where lambda kind of fails because lambda needs proper numbers. It cannot handle an iterable item. What does iterable item mean? It means that anything that has more than one values. So if I had to write this in a lambda function, I'm going to do this x greater than 10 and put it in answer and print answer, and I will pass in list 1. Let's see what happens. Let's remove this. We have our 3 lines of code, and this gives an error because it is trying to take the whole list and trying to compare the list greater than 10, not the items in the list. It is trying to compare all the list as a whole item, which is list 1. It is comparing it greater than 10 and throwing an error. And this is where we can use the filter function, where it says that there should be a function and an iterable item, which is our list 1. So I will put the filter function, and the second item is the iterable item, which is our list 1. And let's print out answer and see what we get. Now we have an filter object, and how are we going to convert this filter object into a list? So when we get this filter object, all I will do is put a list over here and print out the answer, and it is going to return a list. So we are passing the filter object inside a list and we return a list. Now if I change this to suppose 50 elements, this is going to give me a lot of duplicates like 12. Then we have what? We have 2 12s, around 3 or 4 17, more than 4 17. So I can also convert this into a set and run this, and it is going to remove all the duplicates. So the filter function will return a filter object, and you need to pass this filter object into something else like a set, a list, or a tuple, anything you want. Like I can do tuple. It's going to be immutable, like I cannot change it, but it is going to return a tuple. Similarly, you can do anything you want with lists, sets, and tuples, but I will give you one more example. Let's do a is equal to some blank elements, and we will add in some numbers, random numbers, and we will add in some text, and we will also remove add in a none variable and some more numbers. So we have this list. If I want to filter out all the elements in the list that does not has a value, then what I will do is print. Actually, yeah, let's try this out. Print list of, let's filter out. What are we going to filter out? We are going to filter out none in the list A. So we have all the elements that are not, let me comment this out. That is not a none variable. That is not none. What that means is these empty strings are going to get removed and we will have this. If you want, you can also do something like an empty list over here. So I can remove this and add these things and run this. It is still going to filter out all the empty list, all the empty strings and the none items from the list. And if you want, you can use this same list and instead of x greater than 10, you can add in more variables like x mod 2 is equal to 0. This is going to print out all the elements that are even numbers and put it in a tuple. So you can create a set out of this, but basically the way this function works, the filter function, is you put in a function. It can be a lambda function. It can be just like a simple none like we did over here where we just put in none and it is going to filter these items out of the list. So in this case, it filtered out all the odd numbers and returned back the even numbers. So a filter, what it does is it takes an iterable item, it removes the thing that you don't want and returns back what you actually want. So this condition is very important. I would suggest use lambda function so it's easier to like customize it. But I think that is it for this video, guys. We will be using filter in the future programs, so I wanted to give a brief introduction. And that's it for this video, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.